Philadelphia. We're going to talk much more about that. But first things first. Bet against Dak Prescott in division games at home at your own peril. Dak is now 22-2 in Dallas against division opponents in his career. That's the best mark of any starting quarterback of all time. And our Sal Palantonio is on the field with Dak following the comeback win.
No, you always got it.
Hey, what a comeback by your football team in the second half. What was your message in the locker room in the second half to come out and win this game?
Yeah, just stick together. We understood we shot ourselves in the foot over and over in the first half. We got that score right before the first half ended and said, hey, we continue to do that, execute and focus. Shotty always says you can't win the game in the first, the second, or third, but you can win it in the fourth, and that's what we went and did.
Your mindset was to throw the ball down the field to your wide receivers and let them make a play.
I've got two amazing guys, and not just them, a great supporting cast. They have my confidence so high. They're unbelievable. So just trying to get those guys the ball, and it's been fun.
And after the Eagles turned the ball over in the fourth quarter, what was your mindset going into the last few minutes of the game?
Yeah, we got to finish. Simple as that. We missed that one opportunity to finish down there in the red zone, knowing that we had it again, got them to punt. Let's go finish. This game is ours. What's meant for us is for you, and we knew this was what was ours.
Hey, congratulations. Stay healthy.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, thank you. Great seeing you, Sal. Great seeing you, brother.
21-point Philadelphia lead. It's the largest blown victory, tied for the largest blown victory by a defending Super Bowl champion of all time. Coach, 21-0 lead on the road in the second quarter. Dallas's season on the line. They were dead and buried. How on earth did they come back?
Well, look, going into this game, I felt that this would be a high-scoring affair. Because I felt the Eagles were going to have to score points against the Dallas Cowboys. One thing the Dallas Cowboys can do, they can play offense. They can score points. But when the game started out, I said the Eagles had 21 points. I said, oh, man. And then all of a sudden, the Cowboys, because of who they are, they started throwing the ball. And guess what? When you give Dak Prescott time with those wideouts he has, they just start making hay. And you could see the confidence building. Eagles could get nothing going. Then all of a sudden their defense, the Cowboys defense, started playing with a little more energy, right? And it's one of those games, a division game, a game that the Cowboys needed to win badly. But here's the problem right now. The Eagles were in position, I should say, if they keep winning, to have home field advantage through the playoffs. Now they lose. Now all of a sudden it becomes a little bit murky as far as can they host all the games at home or not.
It's a division game for Philadelphia, and they came into this game, like you said, the best team in the NFC, and you're up 21 points with the most talented roster in the NFL. When they assess, Nick Sirianni assesses what went wrong, how do you move on from blowing a 21-point loss to a rival like Dallas?
Well, hopefully a lesson learned, because there's still football left. And, this is a loss. It's a tough loss, but it's a division opponent. Anytime you play a division opponent, you never know. The Dallas Cowboys have enough players on offense. You just felt defensively they couldn't slow them down. But they slowed the Eagles down, held them to the score of 21 points. I mean, that was it. They got off to an early lead, and that was it. No more points. And you sit there and you watch this thing, and you go, is Dallas going to win this game? And the Eagles did enough to let them back in the game.
I wrote down 3 weeks ago against Green Bay, they allowed 7 points in a 10-7 win. Philadelphia did. Last week, they allowed 9 points to Detroit in a 16-9 win. They had allowed only 7 points to Dallas into the second half, and I was saying, here comes that Eagles defense again. You thought that maybe there's a flaw there with Philadelphia?
I worry about the back end of their defense, the secondary, when they don't get a rush. There's some guys back there that they're moving guys around. They have Mitchell as a star corner. They haven't solidified the other corner yet, and that gets a problem a little bit. When they don't get a rush and they don't get to the quarterback, people have time to throw the football, and that's what they've done. That has been the weakness of this defense, the back end, the secondary.
We're going to put a pin in this discussion right here, circle back to the Cowboys' come-from-behind victory. But first, another major storyline here in Week 12 of the NFL. Shedeur Sanders gets the start. The Cleveland Browns come away with the victory. Myles Garrett was a game wrecker, new on SportsCenter, as the Cleveland Browns' star defensive end.
Game, the Cowboys usually would lose. And so they found a way to win despite not playing their best game possible, which is a scary sign. Come down the way.
They're rounding into form at the right time, and doesn't feel like there's a lot of time to waffle right now for the Cowboys yet, and still you get this big win, you take a step closer to being actually in that playoff conversation. For the Eagles, it's another divisional loss. Their last loss coming to the New York Giants, and now one here to the Dallas Cowboys. You sometimes look for that come to Jesus moment as a team, Mac. Can this serve as that for an Eagles team that we know is supremely talented? And talk to me about what's going on up front, because the Saquon Barkley's numbers are head scratchers.
Yes.
He came into this week averaging 66 yards for each game.
Yep.
He was averaging 125 a year ago. What is the issue right now? How much is up front? How much is maybe just a moment of hesitation for Saquon?
Well, injuries clearly have played a part. You know, Juergens missed time. Lane Johnson didn't participate today. So they're dealing with injury. Landon Dickerson has been in and out of the lineup also. So clearly the continuity that we saw in 2024 hasn't been there in 2025, and that has played a significant role in the Saquon Barkley not looking like the Saquon Barkley that we saw in 2024. Heck, right now, Saquon Barkley isn't looking like the New York Giants Saquon Barkley. When you look at all the issues they had on their offensive line, he still gave you some things in spurts, right? And I think to Emery's point, I think this is a lot to do about the Eagles and what they're not doing offensive line-wise, but this also has a lot to do with the Cowboys and the new moves they've made to shore up their interior. When you bring in guys like Quentin Williams along with Kenny Clark, who you already had with Osa, you're trying to get better in the interior. When you bring in a guy like Logan Wilson, a 3-down linebacker, you're trying to improve in the run element because those guys help the guys in the secondary play better. And when you look at the issues offensively, the block, the missed field goal, the fumble, the interception, usually the defense for the Cowboys would fold.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Fold like a napkin, right? But what they did, they bowled it back up, and they gave their offense the necessary possessions to win this ball game. Remember I used to always say with the Cowboys, all you need to do is get 4 stops defensively. They can get those easily now.
Yeah.
Now they're getting more, which could be a scary sign for this team if they get a legit shot to get into the playoffs.
You wonder in that NFC if it is too little too late. 10, maybe 11 is going to be the going rate there, not just for divisions, but for the wild card with what you see going on in the North and elsewhere. You got to win each and every one of them. It's come from behind 24 unanswered. What matches the largest comeback victory in franchise history for Dallas. We talk about the short week for the Eagles, even shorter for the Dallas Cowboys who play on Thanksgiving, JJ.
Not just they play on Thanksgiving. Let's consider the opponent. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you were watching on Sunday afternoon, you were saying, oh boy, this Thursday game, the Chiefs are going to lose to the Colts. Obviously, the Cowboys are going to lose to the Eagles. What are these teams going to be playing for?
Everything.
And now, of course, we were already going to tune in on CBS on Thanksgiving Day. There's no doubt about it.
Who else?
But now everybody's tuning in.
It's different, right?
On this one. And so I absolutely cannot wait for this, and I think that you guys make a fantastic point about this defense. Obviously, it has gotten better because it could not get worse, but it has gotten better because of the additions that they've made there. They're already gelling. They're congealing, and even the pieces that were there, it's not just those guys, but being in Matt Eberflus's defense and understanding sort of the nuances took those guys a little bit. And even the guys who have been there are figuring it out. So the Cowboys can be scary down the stretch here.
When we looked at that 3-game stretch coming off of last week's game that they won, it was like they have the Chiefs, they have the Eagles, and they have someone else. It was like if they can get 2 out of the 3 or 1 out of the 3, the back end of outside of those 3 games looked rather delicious for the Cowboys. But this was the first one of many. And you have to like their matchup against Kansas City.
So the 3-game stretch is Philly, Kansas City, and Detroit.
Boom. There's your lane to get into the mix.
Yeah. And 2-1, I think, would be serviceable. But if you look at the Cowboys, the way their offense and defense has improved, I mean, they could win